Let's talk about Nvidia, stock symbol NVDA. It's made an incredible run, about 15% off of the March lows. And what I want to do in this video here is dissect this chart, go through it with some technical analysis, and determine whether or not there's any roadblocks ahead, whether or not we should still be buying the stock, and whether or not we should be showing some caution here at these current levels. I'm also going to do a little bit of looking at the broader market, specifically the S&P 500, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and tackle this chart right now. So what we can establish here is that there is a series of lower lows and lower highs. Here's your lower highs right here, and then you have your lower lows right over here. You have seen these play out on multiple occasions, so we have an established trend to the downside in place. And so I'll go ahead and draw these lines so you can see how these all match up. But we're in a down channel on Nvidia, and you look at the short term. Where does this actually take us? Are we going to go right back up to here only to falter and push back down to the downside? Very good chance. And that's what I would be ultimately looking for. I think that Nvidia can continue to rally in the short term, but I wouldn't put a lot of high hopes for it until it gets past this 132 level, 133. If it can get past there, then yeah, I think some momentum will start coming back into the stock, and more people will get optimistic about it. But inside of this channel, it's really just in a downward trend. You look at SPY, and what you have, and this is a make or break moment for SPY right now, because you have this double top that's been in place. So this double top goes back to November of last year. It confirmed to the downside, going from 575 all the way down to 550. Wasn't a huge sell-off after confirming the pattern, but nonetheless, what we have right now going on is we're testing the underside of this double top. That's typical for a huge sell-off. Remember, we didn't move that far down. And when you see a retest of the underside of the double top, it should be assumed that oftentimes that these tests will fail and that you'll see a move back lower. If that happens, Nvidia will likely come back down and test this lower channel band, which for the people who bought the dip on this stock like they've been doing for years, that could be a lot of pain for them to have to go through. So the other thing on SPY that I would point out is we've been selling off, going back to these all-time highs that were made on February 19th. Now you slap an AVWAP on it, and boy, you got a perfect test of not only the AVWAP right now, but also of the double top confirmation. They converge together, providing additional resistance. So going into tomorrow, this is a huge level, coupled with the fact that you have the 200-day moving average. Yes, it's above the 200-day moving average right now, but still, that could come into play tomorrow as well. I think there's a lot to be said about SPY, and we're not oversold either. So we're getting close to even being overbought in the short term. I know that sounds crazy because it feels like we've just been selling off the whole month, but we've actually been rallying for the past couple of weeks, and while it's been pretty choppy, we have moved higher. I mean, we moved about 5% off of the lows. All right, now back to Nvidia. So you broaden this out a little bit, and really what you have going all the way back to about May of last year is nothing but a pure chop in this stock. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a healthy chart by any means. In fact, you could say we're just in one massive range right here. Now, let's look at the intraday chart. This is going to be the Nvidia cup and handle pattern here. Wow, we have got a lot of stuff on this chart, but bear with me. We'll go ahead and find one that doesn't have much. There we go. And we'll throw in a 30-minute chart. We have a cup and handle pattern that is formed. So you take this, and a cup and handle is exactly what it sounds like. It looks like a cup where you got this rounded bottom, and then you have a smaller handle, and then it breaks out to the upside, and that's considered bullish. So cup, handle, waiting for the upside breakout. That can also still be seen somewhat on the daily chart as well. And then you go back to the chart where we had the downtrend, and that could give us a target of going right back up to that 131. But again, I go back to SPY and say, if SPY can't break through that level, I don't think Nvidia breaks out of this cup and handle either. So going into tomorrow, what I would be looking at is the SPY chart first and foremost. If you're long on Nvidia, be very cautious about what's going on in SPY. Can it break through that AVWAP? And if it can, that means it's also breaking through that double top confirmation level as well. If it can't break through that, that may be a sign that this Nvidia is not going to break out of that cup and handle pattern, because the influence of the indices are so big on the individual stocks. And I think that gets lost on a lot of traders, is that they look only at the charts of the individual stocks and they don't look at the broader market conditions of what's going on in the broader market, like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, and they don't look at the individual sectors as well. If Nvidia is going to perform, it's likely going to need SPY to push through that resistance. If SPY can't do that, that becomes a huge problem. So make that your first priority when it comes to trading Nvidia. What is SPY doing here? And then filter your decisions through what SPY is doing down into Nvidia. If you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to like and subscribe and let me know down in the comments below. Do you think this stock market is starting to run out of fumes here? And do you think Nvidia is still worth playing? It's actually one of the few stocks that have on the mega cap side that does have some decent reward risk ratios to it still, and that can still be played. But SPY has to do its thing. Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys, and God bless.